We'll start with a high-level overview of the campaign and what we're trying to achieve in Phase 3. Our primary objectives was to drive recognition and subscription for the Layers app by creating calm, reflective content designed specifically for TikTok and Instagram Reels. This direction was not arbitrary. It came directly from what we learned in Phase 1, where consistency, relevancy, and emotional grounding consistently emerged as more effective than fast-paced or motivational content. We saw Layers not as a tool that fixes problems, but a companion that helps users slow down and reflect. That understanding became the foundation of everything we planned for Phase 3. From a strategic standpoint, we felt confident going into Phase 3. The campaign was structured, insight driven, and aligned with the brand values we understood Layers to stand for. However, despite the strength of the strategy, our execution was disrupted following the Phase 2 feedback session. As a result, we posted significantly less content than planned. That limited our ability to gather meaningful data and evaluate performance in a way we originally intended.
In Phase 1, we spent time using the app ourselves to better understand how Layers feels in practice, not just how it's described. What became clear was that Layers works best when it positions itself as a reflective companion rather than a problem solver. When the experience was consistent, it felt calming and supportive. It created space for reflection rather than pressure to fix something. At the same time, we noticed moments where memory lapses, such as forgetting names or previous themes, slightly weakened emotional trust. When we revisited these insights for Phase 3, we connected them directly to Layers' stated target audience, women aged 30 to 45, who are seeking calm amidst everyday stress. Through research and observation, we found that this audience responds best to content that feels grounded, practical, and gently structured. They learn to value guidance that creates calm, rather than content that is fast paced, motivational, or overstimulating. These insights strongly influence how we approach recognition, growth, and content design going into Phase 3.
Based on those insights, our Phase 3 strategy remained consistent with what we presented during Phase 2. We planned a 7-day clarity sprint supported by daily micro reflections. The goal was to ease new users into the app gradually, without overwhelming them or demanding an immediate commitment. This approach was directly inspired by what we learned in Phase 1 about emotional health, habit formation, and the value of steady repetition. The strategy was intentionally calm, clean, and consistent with the Layers brand. It wasn't designed for virality, it was designed for recognition, helping users feel that Layers fits naturally into their daily lives. Even though we weren't able to execute the strategy fully, the logic behind it remained solid throughout the process. We still believe the approach aligns strongly with both the audience and the product positioning.
This approach was never about virality. It was about recognition, helping users feel that Layers naturally fits into their daily routine. We intentionally avoided overstimulation, fast pacing, or exaggerated hooks because they conflict with the emotional space Layers aims to occupy. This strategy stayed aligned with the brand even when execution slowed.
From the implementation perspective, we initially had everything in place to move forward. We prepared our content schedule, outlined several experiments, and last reflective messaging, and drafted scripts. We also had tracking links ready for a structured rollout plan across TikTok and Instagram Reels. At that point, the plan was to learn through execution, to post, observe, and iterate based on real data. After the Phase 2 feedback session, our implementation took a turn. Concerns were raised about whether we could automatically connect with a target audience. Given the demographic difference between our team and Layers core users, and layers core users. While we understood the strategic point being made, the feedback affected our confidence more than we expected. Instead of moving forward and testing ideas, we hesitated and began overthinking creative decisions. The feedback affected our confidence more than we anticipated. Instead of pushing content live and learning through data, we hesitated throughout creative decisions. As a result, the content that would have generated meaningful insights was never published at scale.
Because of that hesitation, the content that would have generated meaningful data was never published at scale. Although funnel tracking was ready to measure installations, trials, and quantify subscriptions, none of the tracking links were enabled. As a result, we do not have performance matrices to properly evaluate outcomes. Looking back, we now see the real limitation wasn't the strategy, but the lack of execution. We also recognize that our reaction to the feedback played a major role in slowing momentum.
Looking back, the most challenging moment was how strongly the phase 2 feedback influenced our momentum. The issue wasn't the feedback itself, but our reaction to it. Instead of testing and iterating, we allowed hesitation to slow progress, which prevented us from getting the evidence we needed. If this
campaign were to continue, our recommendation would be to rebuild momentum through consistent, calm posting, even at a small scale. Involving female creators within the 30 to 45 year demographic, we think this could help bridge trust concerns that were raised during feedback. Closer alignment between product capabilities such as memory functions and marketing messages would also help set realistic expectations. Overall, this project reinforced a key lesson. Insight only emerges through execution. Thank you.